This podcast is part of the No Phony Podcast Network, the home of independent awesomeness.
All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of On the Road with Jim and Casey. With me, as always, James Morganti.
That's right.
Joining us today from Austin, Texas, Brianna Jones.
Two dogs around here somewhere, but, you know.
How are you doing today?
Not bad. I mean, things could always be worse. Still have a job, so that's plus.
That's good.
Must be nice.
Hey, you know, I can't complain. I work for a pretty badass company, so.
So, Brianna, the listeners don't know. We're friends. I met Brianna in Austin. Tell us about yourself. I mean, other than she's blonde.
Oh,
Where
do you want me to start?
How did you get to Austin? And how, maybe explain how we met,
Oh my God, you're so embarrassing. I moved here, it's been almost 5 years now. I've been here, moved to Wimberley first, which is south of Austin, about 45 minutes. It's a very small, little sleepy tourist town. I was actually training horses out there. I used to be a horse trainer. And it was great until it wasn't. And I promised myself the moment it became a job was the moment I walked away. So I did. Got a job in real estate up here in Austin, and I've been here ever since. I grew up in California, San Diego to be exact. Couldn't get out of there fast enough. I'm surprised it took me as long as it did to get out of there because I hated it, every bit of it. But yeah, I've been here ever since. It's been an interesting journey and didn't think I would love it here, but I actually do. So I can't really complain.
Why didn't you like San Diego?
Let me count the ways. It's very expensive. It's incredibly expensive for nobody's ever lived there. Even compared to Austin, a studio in a high rise here can run you upwards of $1,400 to $1,500. In California, you're looking at a studio at a high rise for no less than $2,600 a month. And that's not including any utilities or anything. That's just outrageous. Your gas is outrageous. The gas tax. And let's not even get started on their governor. Gavin Newsom's just a fucking moron. And that was really the other big reason is I grew up in a very small red dot and I was definitely very outnumbered and was just done with it. And then of course I ended up moving to a very blue city, but it's interesting. Liberals here are so different than California. Like they'll attack you. Try and bodily harm you in California for your views if you don't believe what they do here. Like in Austin, for the most part, if you don't believe it, like I have tons of friends that, lean left and I have tons of friends that are moderates and all over the spectrum. We all get along. Either we don't talk about it or we talk about it and we have interesting conversations, not just, well, you don't believe what I believe, so you're wrong. So it's been a big change.
So you couldn't take the trendy mustache wearing liberals in San Diego
And I moved to Austin and here they are again.
Well, yes, right. And there's some in Austin downtown that they do these gatherings and these demonstrations that I've seen. It's just the normal yelling at you because you're a good looking. I'm tall. I work out. They're mad at us because we have the love of God in our heart and we try to be better every day.
Yeah.
Instead of wearing Stalin shirts, and they're kind of weak, but they have like gut fat and everything, and they're just like kind of like. Why don't you want to be cool and be like us?
Yeah.
So I got you. And then you come to Austin. I think the outskirts of Austin are kind of, red, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, it just depends on where you go. Like believe it or not, I've been like fishing 3 times in this quarantine and been to the ranch to hunt quite a few times. And it's amazing. As soon as you get out of Austin itself, like Austin proper, completely different. It just changes.
Is Wimberley what you consider hill country?
Yes, it's like the start of hill country. It's what they call like the gateway to hill country. It's a super, super touristy town. And actually right before I moved here, funny story, it flooded in May before I moved here, like really bad, what they call the Memorial Day flood. And then it flooded again that same year in October, and I moved here in November. So I remember driving in at 2 a.m. I had my truck and the trailer with all my stuff in it and the dog in the car, and came to this bridge, and it was like washed out, and it had this little side road, and it was pitch black because you're in the middle of nowhere. And I called the lady that I was working for at the time. I was like, I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. I can't go down this road. She's like, no, I promise you can drive over it. You're fine. Just take the little side road. So I went down this sketchy little side road at 2 a.m. But yeah, the entire bridge washed out. It was really crazy. And she was telling me that her husband actually was on the Swiftwater rescue team for the EMS there in Wimberley. And they watched, plenty of families, they just didn't believe it got washed away from their houses. And then they pulled so many people out of it. So it was a big deal when I moved here. And the town was a mess when I moved here.
Yeah, I have a friend that lives in south of Austin in Kyle, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And, he took me up to Wimberley when I was out there.
Yeah, and they've got Jacob's Well out there, which is like the world's deepest freedive cave or whatever it is. There's some kind of world something, and it's incredible. It's beautiful, but people have died in it because nobody knows how deep it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brianna, so I know that you love hunting.
Mm-hmm.
As a hunter and a woman, that's attractive, good shape, figure, works out. I think you can squat more than I can. Do you look at me as a guy that doesn't hunt, that I'm like not as manly? And I wish I could hunt. I don't know how to. I was never trained that way. But do you look at a man like me and you're just like, wow?
No. Okay, so I'm single, so obviously I'm dating and whatnot. But my big thing is and it's not so much that I don't think you're manly at all, because I obviously know you very well and you are, and I would trust you with my life and know that I would be protected if I was out with you. For me, hunting is something that I want my kids to grow up on, learn, understand that where all their meat comes from, everything like that. So I just want, for me personally, when I'm dating, I look for somebody that knows how to hunt, because it's something that someone can help me teach our children and to carry it on. It doesn't make you any less manly or anything like that. I'm sure you know how to handle a gun, and if you don't, it would be really easy to teach you. It's something that anybody can learn. So
I've
known Jim my whole life, and I've podcasted with him quite a few times. I don't think you know him as well as you think you do. He's run at the site of a fight already.
That doesn't shock me.
If I'm not involved, yeah, why wouldn't you? Okay, first of all, I don't like fighting. I don't agree with it. I always think I'm the cooler. I'm the middle guy. I always calm people down with my kind eyes of just, guys, let's look into each other's hearts. And, I use my words to calm people down. But if it comes to it, if I'm walking, and I have my family or girlfriend or whoever I love next to me, a friend or whatever, and someone comes up to them and just starts finger blasting them or something. I don't know what rapers do anymore, or attackers. They just start coming up, grabbing butts, and like steal your purse. Then I would turn into the guy in like Back to the Future when he's like, "Hey, you get your damn hands off her," and then my shirt would probably rip off. And I try to
like the Hulk.
Right.
Then you need to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Well, I would probably get tangled up in him because I'm very gangly, and then during that time, someone could call the police or whatever.
Yeah.
And Brianna has every, we've hung out before. Actually, why don't you tell the listeners how we met?
It was one of the first times I hung out with this other girl that I'm really good friends with, Amber, and she called me and she said, "Hey, we're all gonna go do something tonight." And I was like, "Okay." So I showed up at her house. I walk in the door, and here comes Jazzy down the stairs, and she turns around. I don't even know this guy, and she's like, "Oh, this is Jazzy." And he does this little dance coming down the stairs, and I was like, "All right, I don't know what I'm getting myself into." And then we went to, I don't even remember the name of that place. It wasn't Fast Eddie's, but it was somewhere like that, like really dingy down there on Anderson Mill.
Common Interest, I think.
I think so, yeah. So Common Interest is a karaoke bar here in Austin, and we went and sang karaoke on I think it was like a Tuesday night. And that's how I met Jazzy. quite.
And then one thing led to another. One thing led to another. We on Rainy Street. I mean, she was shoeless. She needed a man.
It was
Become-
South by like 2 years ago, and my feet were hurting, so I took my shoes off. And I think Jazzy gave me a piggyback ride because I was too tired to walk anymore. It was great.
Because Casey, sometimes, Case, in life, you just got to step up and be a big man. And
do you know how you got the name Jazzy, Jimbo?
my friend Nick, that I originally went down to Austin with, he always called me that because he played guitar too, and we would just talk about music, and we played together. And I love jazz. I mean, anyone that knows me, I love jazz, groovy stuff, soul, R&B, and we just play a lot. And Jazzy just came out some point, and then I developed a caricature for it of jazz.
You have a character for your nickname?
Well, I mean, Casey, what would you do if someone called you Mr. Big Wrists? Casey, actually, Brianna, he's more of a man than me. He has much bigger wrists, good strength. He was a former wrestler,
If someone called me that, I don't know, I'd probably just fucking laugh at them and walk away.
That sounds about right.
It's better. Your nickname Jazzy is better than your nickname Captain Fiddlefuck, though.
What?
Right. I have a few nicknames that are kind of X-rated. The other one was James Fingerblast, but that was only for guitar solos.
Jesus.
So hey, dude, we all got some kind of nickname. I mean, Brianna, she looks like Margot Robbie. I mean,
I guess.
I don't have a nickname. Not that I know of. Maybe people call me something behind my back.
Case, you don't need a nickname. You're a real man. So Brianna, what kind of guys? What do you look for in the first 2 minutes of meeting? In the first 2 minutes of meeting a man, what do you look for?
Not that. Not
What's
that.
What's your go-to?
My go-to, if you had to ask any of my friends, they're gonna tell you frat boy, tall, super douchey, and I don't know, just like into sports, I guess. That's usually how I meet people. I'll set it up like I'll go to a bar and watch a game, although clearly I haven't been doing that right now. And somebody will start talking to me, and that's usually how it goes. But
do they have to? Not have to, but is it obviously it's a big plus if they have your same beliefs. But let's say they said, I love Hillary Clinton. I hate babies.
Goodbye. I would be out the door so fucking fast.
What does that do to you when a man, right, comes up to you and he's like, I love abortion, I hate God, oh man, I hope Joe Biden, he's smarter than Donald Trump, he speaks better, I love him so much. What would that say to a person like yourself about that guy?
Let's see. So I love abortion. So I'm very back and forth on abortion. I believe in it for certain instances. I believe that, all humans make mistakes and we should be up to a certain point allowed to correct the mistake. I'm very much back and forth on whether or not, a child is viable at 6 weeks. I mean, science will tell you it is, but at the same time, can you guys get out of here? Go back and forth on that. Second point. What was it? Oh, I hate God. Why? Tell me why. I want to know why. I don't push my beliefs down anybody's throat, but I want to understand why you hate God. Let's see. What else did you say? Good Lord.
Just I guess they're so you like someone that believes in you, like in similar things. They don't have to agree exactly.
Yeah, they don't have to agree exactly, but if you voted for Hillary Trump, you're a pussy. I'm sorry.
But right, I don't understand. I think you've been on Bumble before or Tinder,
Yeah.
or you've used it. I've used it a long time ago, and I feel like, have you ever seen like, I don't know. Oh wait, maybe we can ask you, because I see this all the time, and I never see it go the other way. I'll be like looking at girls, and all I ever see is, if you voted for Trump, you get your ass out of here, swipe left, and all this stuff. And I never see someone say, if you voted for Hillary, you get out of here. And I'm almost like I wouldn't care, honestly, who voted for what. But I'm leaning on anything.
Because the left is intolerant. The left is so incredibly intolerant that they have to make it known who they voted for and who they won't tolerate. Whereas, like, okay, yeah, you voted for Hillary, but I'm not going to sit there and vote or freaking put all over my dating profile that I voted for Trump, or like I'm so pro-Trump or whatever. You know, I'm not going to post that because it's really none of your freaking business. You know, you have the option to do conservative or liberal, and that should be enough.
Have you seen guys on Tinder or Bumble or whatever that have written on there in their bio, if you voted for Trump, swipe left?
Yes, all the time.
What?
All the time. Or I get the guys, they're like, oh, I'm very pro-feminism and this and that and and don't get me wrong, I'm all about women power because women are fucking powerful, but feminism is a joke. I think it's an absolute joke. Women are created different from men because there are a million things that we can do that men cannot do and will never be able to do. And it needs to be celebrated.
I love it. I love women so much. Do these men know? I mean, swiping left. Okay, let's say you wrote Trump on there, or you like I'm a conservative. Let's say you wrote conservative on there. And men are like, left. What? Like a left man would swipe left on you. Left for going down, get away, fall in. It's always left. There's a left-hand path of evil. And like, I mean, I just want to say to these guys, if they're looking at your profile, you fools. Like, you know what you're missing? You know what I mean? You're missing something, and you could be missing something great just because.
I mean, usually the left doesn't like capitalism either, so that's their problem. If they don't want to make fucking money and be rich, that's not my problem. The only way they're going to get rich is by taking from the poor, which they continue to do. So just, you know, God, get out of here.
They just love taking our money. So I miss those dogs, man. They're wild, but you've always been a big dog girl.
Always. They're nuts. And they're driving me nuts because I've been home now for a month, and I'm pretty sure they're tired of me being home all day, every day, and I'm tired of being home all day, every day. I mean, they have had some cool trips. They got to go to the beach twice and go to the ranch once, so they're not, totally left out, but they are driving me crazy.
Do you think that guys that have cats, is that weird?
I mean, it's a little weird, but more for me, I'm severely allergic to cats, so it's just a no-go anyways for me. But yeah, I mean, cats and like even little dogs, I'm like, doesn't really, like I'm talking like Chihuahua or something, or like, again, for me, a man that has a French bulldog to me makes no sense because you just spent $3,000 on a dog that's going to die. And it's going to cost you another $6,000 probably in medical problems because all of those bulldog breeds have so many medical problems with their noses. I know my mom has 2 of them, and she spent freaking thousands of dollars on them.
I like big dogs too because, I mean, for my personal thing about it is I just want to cuddle. Like, I want to grab them and feel it. Like, I need some meat there to hold on to. And I have nothing against little dogs. They're cute and loving and everything, but I just can't rough around with them. And I always feel like I got to be careful around it. I gotta like watch where I walk and stuff. Yeah,
no, and that's my other thing too, is I've never owned little dogs. We've always had big dogs my whole life. I mean, I've pretty much always had German short hairs my whole life. We had a mutt here and there. And I did have one little dog at the farm where I worked in California. She was pretty cool. We used her as coyote bait all the time. She'd call in the coyotes and when we shoot them, so that was fun.
Not really sure what you guys are talking about. This is a real dog right here.
Look at it.
Oh God, that looks like, I don't know if any of y'all watch Bravo or anything like that, but there's a show on Bravo called Southern Charm, and there's this girl, Cameron, and her husband. They have a neighbor that has this dog Elvis that looks just like that. He's just lighter all around, and they basically stole Elvis from the neighbors, and Elvis became like her husband's son, and he carries Elvis around. And, like, the neighbors have literally given this dog Elvis up to this family because they were like, well, Elvis likes them more. He is pretty cute.
I like big dogs myself. This is my girlfriend's dog. I moved into I adopted this dog when I got together with my girlfriend 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So
It happens.
she doesn't want a big dog.
Can you give the coronavirus or COVID to an animal? Because I saw a tiger got it.
Well, dogs can't get it. I mean, that just shows why the dogs are superior to fucking cats, because clearly cats can get it, but dogs can't. So.
Ooh.
Cats can get it?
Yeah, that big old tiger at the zoo guy.
Yeah, true. All right. Yeah.
And wait. Oh, yes, tigers are felines. Brianna would know because she's a smart woman and she's pro being woman and she has information. Okay.
Yeah, I completely overlooked that a tiger was a cat.
They're still a cat. They're big. They're part of the big cat family, but.
What are your thoughts on COVID? I mean, do you think that we should open stuff up? Should we be Americans and be free to go outside?
Let me break it down for you. So my mom's been a nurse for 30 plus years because I'm almost 30 years old. My mom's been a nurse longer than I was alive. And my dad's been in the medical industry for 30 plus years, both of my grandparents. So, I've heard a lot of different sides, and I have friends that are doctors, and, when it came out, I definitely was more on the side of, it's the flu. It's a basic flu, which it is. It's still a strain of the flu. In scientific matter, it is nothing more than a strain of the flu. The only problem with it is we haven't been exposed to it here that we know of. So the UK had an interesting concept. They were the last ones to shut anything down. Boris Johnson, part of me goes, yeah, you were smart. Part of me goes, no, that was a really dumb move to leave your country that vulnerable. But the idea behind it of herd immunity, creating herd immunity, is the right idea. That's the only way this is going to fizzle out and become a regular flu, because guess what? This is always going to be here now. It's here. There is nothing we can do. It will always be here, just like H1N1 is here, will always be. All of it will always be here because they're all just different strains of the flu. When you go, test for the flu, when you think you have the regular flu, do you have type A? Do you have type B? That just tells you that there's multiple strains and types of the flu. So, but do I think that the government has blown this so vastly out of proportion? Yes, I do. I think that the government is using this to help their own agendas. But again, I really do think, and this is not me, pushing politics and the election and whatnot, but this backfired on the left so bad, so incredibly bad, because they were looking at this when they were so busy with the impeachment in early January, late December, and then screamed at Trump as soon as he closed the border closed China to travel in January. They're like, that's preemptive, you're racist, la 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 la. Well, no, he wasn't. He got the report that this thing was traveling and it was very dangerous. So he did the right thing. He closed it. He did it quietly because they were too freaking busy trying to get this fucker removed from office. And it didn't work, so it backfired on them. So then they turned to this to try and use it. And up until about 2 weeks ago, you still had candidates and people talking about the election. Trump has not talked about his re-election campaign once in a single one of his briefings. And I have watched every single one. It's like the highlight of my day. I sit there and watch him because half the time he's entertaining and I think he's hilarious. And half the time I'm like, dude, shut your mouth. Because he doesn't always think before he speaks, but that's also why I like him. He's just real. He's a real human being, and he acts like a real human being. Sometimes his thoughts are not always that great, and I'm like, dude, you really got to turn it down a little bit. But he's not once talked about his election campaign. And you had, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden up until a couple weeks ago, and Elizabeth Warren talking about the re-election campaign and still trying to run down the election trail. And I'm like, that's wrong. You have a world that is in a global pandemic crisis, and here you are pushing your narrative And that just doesn't fit me. And then, you know, you have all of these politicians that are trying to say, we need to stay closed for at least another month or two, at least another month or two. What is that going to do to society? That will, and we've already crippled our economy. We're lucky that we are floating by, that we have, you know, between what happened in the last recession we had in like 2008, 2009 to now, our economy and what's holding us up is our real estate economy is so much more stable now because we fixed all of that bullshit, those bad markets, those bad mortgages, everything that sunk us last time so bad in that last recession is now strong enough to withstand this. You know, I'm still getting calls about people wanting to buy homes and looking to rent, and still seeing girls looking to move here that are, you know, looking for apartments and stuff. I have calls on ranches and people that are, you know, interested in ranches. And I work for a commercial real estate broker. If anybody's getting hit right now in real estate, it's commercial real estate, because they're not sure where their money is going to come from, where their investments are with the stock market. And, you know, obviously business is being shuttered, but, you know, it's still there, and we are holding way steadier than I thought we would be. I mean, I definitely was nervous, but our economy is just stronger than it was when we went through the last recession to handle this, to bounce back and be able to, you know, not fail and totally ruin us. But the left wanting to just keep this closed and this and that, it's not going to work. We have to, it's like that only in my eyes creates less herd immunity and less immunity to this virus than if we open it up slowly with obvious restrictions, obvious, you know, protocol. Just like, I mean, take Texas, for example. Governor Abbott is signing an executive order this week to reopen the economy here, because our cases have slowed. We have hit the peak here and past it, especially in Travis County. It's very mild. So he's going to open it back up with obviously, you know, specifications and what you can and can't do, but it's time. It's time. I think, you know, more than anything, this last month has given a lot of people time to reflect on what's important, what's not, and, you know, spend time with their families and just, you know, get yourself right again. I guess a reset that I feel like it was a weird Christmas holiday, at least for me and, you know, most of my friends, that nobody really reset this January like I see a lot of people do. Nobody took that time to reset in January. It was just a weird year. So it's almost, you know, like we're getting a do-over for January now. But
it's good to hear you say that about the real estate market, because we're looking to sell our house fairly soon. So
yeah, no, it's definitely, I wouldn't say necessarily it's a seller's market, because it's pretty, you know, sellers are pretty scared, and, you know, buyers are still reluctant, but I've still got tons of lenders that are looking to do loans and get creative with loans. And the first time home buyers program is so great for people that want to buy. So no, it's still out there. The commercial market is hurting more than the residential market. So that's definitely a plus. And your interest rates are the lowest they've ever been. So selling and buying right now should be honestly your first priority.
Have you seen or heard of these people coming up to you, yelling at you to go home? And have you seen that?
No. I'm in a group on Facebook for girls like in Austin, and you know, a lot of girls are really like, it's funny because a lot of these same girls 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when everything started weren't really like taking it seriously, or I saw them all at the bars that last weekend before we went, you know, on lockdown. Because let me tell you what, I was out that last weekend. We all went crazy that weekend. I don't even know why. It was just a weird weekend. We all partied really hard. But, you know, I saw half of those girls out there, and they're the same ones now that are screaming at anybody who posts about something like, oh, wow, I went out for a walk today, and they're like, you shouldn't be walking, and or parks are closed, because they closed the parks Easter weekend to try and, because they knew everybody was going to be home and off for Easter weekends. They just didn't want people in public parks. They knew they were going to be crowded. And so you had tons of girls like jumping up and down on this one girl. And I'm like, nobody said exercise wasn't allowed. Exercise is fully allowed. So maybe she wasn't walking in a public park. Maybe she's walking by the trail by her house. That's perfectly legal. I did it yesterday. I do it every day. So and even last week I went to Labor Lake and ran Lady Bird Lake with the dogs. A couple days last week, and everybody was fine. Everybody, like, you know, kept our distance. I mean, we'd still pass close, but we were fine. Everybody was safe. Nobody was, walking in big groups or anything. So it's interesting.
I've seen more people out exercising and walking now than I ever have.
Right? And I'm in this group on, it's called this app called Nextdoor. Let me tell you what, you get some weird psychos on there though, that they're just looking to pick a fight with you. Like, oh, like some lady offered to put Easter eggs in her yard in baskets for the kids yesterday, and everybody jumped up and down on her. She's like, I'm not going to be outside. They're in prepackaged Easter baskets for the kids that, maybe don't get to see their families this year because of this lockdown. And everybody's like, oh, that's so irresponsible. Stay home. And I was like, get off your high horse. Go be negative Nancy somewhere else. For the love of God, nobody needs that right now. But, I live in the suburbs, and they're all just freaking crazy out here. Somebody asked me the other day, oh, that's a really nice Dalmatian you have. I'm like, oh, thanks. Pretty sure Dalmatians don't have large brown spots on them or brown heads, but thanks. So.
Do you think that they're just jealous of people being free, whether it's like they're scared that we're going to, if not that I do this just to rule over people, but it's almost like, yeah, are you maybe a little bit more susceptible to getting it if you're out more? For sure, I get it. But also, if you're careful and not doing things that you're not spitting and coughing on people, going up to them, licking their face.
Yeah, gross. Who does that anyways? And I'm sorry, the whole wash your hands thing. Okay, that's just when you learn how many disgusting fucking human beings there are in the world that don't wash their hands after they pee. Like, that's general human hygiene. Come on, guys.
I have a rebuttal for you for that. I actually sometimes wash them before I go potty. And what I do is I don't even touch my schweenus. What I do is I'll just open it up and let it hang out.
God.
I won't touch it. All I'm doing is touching my pants, pulling them down. And I'm like, just hanging out, let it go for a nice ride. I'm still lucky. I got a good stream going. You know what I mean? I still got all my body parts are working. My testosterone levels are high. And then I just brought it back up. I don't even touch my schwanz. I wash it after also, just to make people happy.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I was thinking about this because just for myself, like, I mean, I look at it in this way too. I see a ton of dudes that work out every single day and they're still keeping a great shape and everything. They're still doing great. And I'm like, oh, these guys are going to be so ahead of me at the end of this, and I'm going to have to start lower again. And I feel in a way that people are like that with people working and being out there. Like they're gonna excel so much faster because everyone else is just staying home and maybe not trying to find a job or not trying to go out and do something productive and do better, even though we're in this thing. And I get it. Like, you want to be careful for sure. Like I'm more cautious about certain things, but I still, if people want to go out and be free to do that, I think, hey, you're not going to stop them. And no matter what, you can't force anybody to stay in. And if you can, I mean,
exactly. It's still a free country.
Right.
So that's my thing. It's still a free country. And yeah, we need to think about others, but at the same time, like, it goes back to that herd immunity thing. If you don't, do something and you stay inside, you're causing more problems for yourself by not getting out in the world and getting a little dirt on you and this and that. You're creating more problems for yourself by not getting out, seeing the world, and just lowering your immune system. So, I mean, I feel very lucky that I grew up in a barn. I grew up in the dirt. I grew up probably eating bugs and everything else in the world. So I'm fairly healthy. I actually still have an autoimmune disease that, does lower my immune system somewhat, but I'm not worried because I've always been healthy. I've always been active, and I've really, made sure that I did everything possible to stay healthy. So.
And are you still getting your workouts in at home?
I mean, yeah, I'm walking every day with the dogs. I try to run 2-3 days a week with them. I can't take both of them at the same time because they're animals. But I am, trying to do like some stuff at home too, like that Kayla Itzstein stuff. I have a membership for that, so I've been trying to use that more. I'm trying to keep the same schedule for work. That's the biggest thing I've learned is, you know, if you keep the same schedule, you're just going to be happier and you won't feel like, you know, you've lost anything other than the fact that you're working from home. And I have the ability to work from my bed,
You're
which is
almost done. Click the green continue button.
God. Sorry. So, you know, that's the only thing that's really changed for me is being able to work from home, which it was really hard the first week for me just to kind of, you know, get into a rhythm and get into a schedule. And I'm used to, like, I'm having to work off of my Mac, but I work on, you know, Windows at the office. So we had to remote in. So I don't have all the programs on my computer, which sucks. So when this first happened, we were allowed to go into the office. And then these last 2 weeks, they said absolutely nobody in the office for the next 2 weeks so that we can try and roll this out, get back to the office after May 1 and just try and go back to our normal lives. Because we're not a big office. I think we have like 22 people in it. And all of our cubicles are pretty spaced out. So it's not like we're coming into super close contact. And we pushed it out until the Monday right before St. Patrick's Day.
Do you think Hillary Clinton would have done a better job with this pandemic? And
No, it would have been total martial law. She wouldn't have left it up to the states. That's the thing that people don't understand and why, you know, they're pissed off because da-da-da-da. But then they clearly didn't pay attention in your government class in high school. Checks and balances was created for a reason so that no person in the government got too much power. There is a reason why the president cannot oversee at the state level. Things like this, martial law is actually left up to the state level as it should be. But, you know, that's why he's giving each state the power to do what they want and to make their own decisions as what sees fit for each state, because you cannot compare a state like Montana to New York. They're two vastly different states, two vastly different ecosystems, economies, everything. In New York, everybody's living on top of each other, and New York is dirty. No offense. I mean, New York City's, hey, get out of there. New York City is really dirty. And then you've got something like Montana where you've got wide open spaces. You don't have people on top of each other. A lot of places in Montana, your nearest neighbor is over a mile away. So you cannot govern each state the same way.
For sure. I mean, just think about it. Where's all the homeless people? Where's all the sick people and the diseases and the just...
Well, I know where all the homeless people are in Austin, thanks to fucking Mayor Adler letting them shit and piss wherever they want.
And busing them in. I mean, my dad, we used to
bust them in from San Antonio.
Yeah. I mean, they just use the homeless for whatever their purpose is, I feel. But like cities, all cities are basically piles of garbage because it's where people go. And if you live on the high rise, that's great. I mean, that's awesome. You have a ton of money and you're able to live on these high places, but that's why they're going up and they want to be up here looking down upon all the minions that are poor or whatever, because it's if you can't be middle in the city. You either have to live up or you're falling down and you're around cesspools of people. I mean, like downtown Austin, I love, it's fun and it's cool and everything. East 6 I love, and West and rainy. But like dirty is literally dirty. I mean, like in every city has something like that. And that's where all the diseases are. That's why everyone in every city is getting sick. Every big city. And I'm not trying to say they're all blue. Obviously, they're sick people and it's all spreading in blue cities.
The majority of your metropolitan cities are very blue.
Right.
Dallas is kind of an exception, but Dallas has so much money in it that that's the biggest reason why it's the exception, is because there's so much money in Dallas. And like, not Austin, it's really interesting. Austin is more old money and new technology money. Dallas is just like commerce capitalism money. So if that makes sense. I mean, Austin, there is a ton of old money just because Austin is such an old city. And the same with San Antonio. San Antonio is very old money. And I guess San Antonio is definitely more red than blue. But you do have a lot of illegals living in San Antonio. A lot. But Dallas is Dallas is a different breed. There's really no other way to describe Dallas. But it's interesting that such a large metropolitan city like that, because it's one of the largest in the country, is so red. But it's all the money that goes in there, all the real estate money, the development money, the capitalism, and it's got a lot of, obviously it's one of the only states or cities in Texas that has sports. So
what's their homeless population like? I'm trying to find it on here. What's like, is there a lot
Dallas?
of homeless? Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen it when I've been up there, but I've never really been to like a lot of the bad parts of Dallas. I tend to stick to like, I think it's Little Elm, and then right by the hockey arena or the baseball. I guess baseball is more Arlington, or wherever Jerry World is, which is Arlington too. So.
Yeah, like I haven't heard anything on Dallas saying about the homeless taking dumps on the street, throwing them at people.
Yeah, because their mayor's not as dumb as ours.
Yeah, I don't understand why
Mayor Adler is incredibly useless.
Isn't there a mayor somewhere that's getting shit now for putting the homeless people in like empty hotels and stuff? I think that might be in California. I read.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Austin too. They did.
Yeah, we did that here too.
Yeah.
But they did it in Austin first, and Mayor Adler is like butt buddies with everybody in California. So.
They just love their precious cities, and it's weird. Like whenever in the media, when you see people that say we're helping you, we're pro homeless, we're pro whatever trans, or we're pro feminist. Whenever they say they're pro something, it's always like a negative. There's always like something that ruins something on the other side of it, of like the same issue. And I feel like if you just take a stand for everyone and making everyone be free, like that's the only way to truly help someone, is to literally say, okay, you got to work it for yourself. And yeah, we'll stand up for everyone equally. People might not like what you believe or what this, that, and the other is, but just let them be free and do stuff. But all these like programs and government programs, look at every government school, every public school and government school in a city is a dump. It's like every government program that ever has been created with a building in it. And,
oh God, kill me.
Right, like with every single government thing, it always is ruined by something. The only thing that is not is liquor stores. That like they're still running, and you know what I mean.
All I care is that Abbott made it legal to get takeout liquor, and as long as that's the only thing I want to stay from this virus.
Liquor stores are closed here, Jimbo.
Yeah,
I want liquor store. I want freaking to-go margaritas from Taco Cabana forever. That's like the greatest thing ever.
Well, it's legal in Texas to have an open container as long as you're not the driver, correct?
Yeah. Do you think anybody abides by that rule here? I actually just got an alert from my Fox News app that all the governors like Cuomo and all of them are doing coordinated efforts to slowly reopen the economy. So there you have it.
Well, we're getting there, guys. I guess.
Bernie Sanders just endorsed good old Sleepy Joe.
It's been how long has since Trump said about the lockdown? How many days has it been? Each state is different.
Yeah, each state's different. So we've been officially all closed down. The last bars closed on the Travis County. So where I am in Travis County, it was as of the night of the 16th. So everything closed after that Monday night. Williamson County was a couple days later because I know that they were open for St. Patrick's Day because I had a couple of friends that went out in a bar up here in North Austin to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So it just kind of depends on the county too. Like even Texas, not all of Texas is locked down. So, like most of the large major places, like Midland, Odessa, the oil places were some of the last ones to close, but they did close their bar, like their essential stuff. So what I'm hoping to see is maybe we don't open, sadly, we don't open bars yet, but we start opening stores again and things like that. And you just, you limit your shoppers or you just limit your hours, like let's open up some of the beauty supply stores again. Let's open up the hair salons because that's not those places are very clean. They keep them clean. You're not in super close quarters. You can very easily monitor how many people you've got in and out. Same with nail salons, things like that.
Yeah, everything's appointment by those anyway. I mean, they can.
Yeah, for the most part, open all your appointment only businesses. That's no problem. And then let's open some of, like, they're not essential stores, but some of the shopping and stuff, because hell, we need it. Can you get out of here? Go bother somebody else.
Oh, dogs. I mean, hey, if you're gonna be single, you might as well have a dog.
I had 2. I just got new neighbors too, and I still haven't met them. I'm like really bummed about it because I need to go leave them some cookies and tell them, hey, sorry, my dogs are probably gonna chew through the fence. Just wanted to let you know. Here's my number. Call me if they chew through the fence.
Did they move in during this quarantine?
Yeah, they did actually, because my neighbors were selling the house, and their for sale sign all of a sudden was gone, and there's tons and tons of boxes in the garage because it wasn't closed all the way yesterday when I walked by, and I didn't recognize either of the cars in the driveway. So I was pretty shocked. But she had it priced right. I saw the price of it. I just didn't have anybody looking, and I hated the broker that was, doing the sale. So I was like, I'm not gonna put anybody through that mess. But yeah, so they must have moved when my thinking is they moved in when I was at the coast earlier this week fishing. Because I didn't notice it this weekend, but I could have easily not noticed it because I really didn't do much on Friday or Saturday.
Have you ever been to, I think it's called Hamilton Pool?
Yeah. You have to make a reservation for it because it's gotten so popular, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I was there once also. My buddy that lives in Kyle took me there also.
Yeah, you have to make a reservation for that one. Same with Enchanted Rock up in Fredericksburg where my grandparents live. I've been up there a couple of times. Jacob's Well is one of the only ones you don't really have to make a reservation for. But it's pretty. I love it. We're super lucky out here that we have all that so close by. That is one of the main reasons I like living here. I had never actually lived in the city when I lived in San Diego. I always lived outside the city. So it's been different living so close to the city and then still being able to go 15 minutes outside and get away. Because it wasn't like that in San Diego. The only thing I could do without here is the traffic, although I was telling my boss the other day that I will gladly sit in traffic just to be at the office again working. Like, I will never complain about traffic again. Because it's just, I miss being in the office and having all of that there with me.
Brianna, so I want to go back to your thoughts on who do you think is going to be the next president in November?
Hands down, Trump. Democrats signed their death wish with Biden. I mean, God forbid he makes it. I mean, the guy is clearly not well. They want to sit there and tout that, Trump's not well, but any of the videos that I watch of like people posting that, it's all spliced together videos with comments taken out of context. I've sat and watched live interviews of Joe Biden and it's not good.
Yeah, you got to watch a lot like that. People don't watch it.
He's not fit to serve. It's not even a matter of if he's good or not. He's not fit to serve mentally.
That's why there's such a big forum of people that say that whoever Biden's mate is going to be, that's most likely going to be the president because they're probably using him. It's like they have to prop up their dead gods that have fallen and are done, and they have to like push him up, and the dead god's like that, and they're like, and then when he dies, or not dies, but like God forbid anything happen, but like when he can't talk or do anything, they're gonna be like, oh well, luckily Hillary Clinton was his running mate, or Kamala Harris, or whoever.
I think he'll take Kamala.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And then my thoughts are is like, well then if they have a running mate, that would be then the next president. So whoever the running mate is, that's who they really want. I think maybe. I mean, I don't know. That's who they really want as president. But first of all, it's not going to. Biden would actually need Kamala to be in a debate against Trump because he can't talk. It's going to be funny. Like, because I agree with you. I think whether you like Trump or not, or you're on the fence or with him or whatever, he has some of the most wry, W-R-Y, wry humor, not dry.
Oh yeah, no, wry humor.
He's so funny. I mean, like Trump I don't even really watch his daily briefings. I fast forward to him and questioning.
Him versus the media, because the media is just ridiculous.
I just think it's so funny. I mean, him and Acosta going back and forth. I just love, like, I think that's so hilarious.
These daily briefings have really highlighted to just the general public and a lot of people that didn't really understand how bad the media was. And it's been interesting to watch. Some people on Facebook have really calmed down about like things he said to reporters or things he said, because they're realizing that these reporters are doing, like, literally brought in to goad him and like try and bait him into things, and he won't. 99% of the time he won't, until somebody really pisses him off or asks a really rude question, and I don't blame him. You know, I mean, he's serious when he needs to be, and then gloves come off.
I mean, it's just anything he does is you
the
can
guy
find
can cure cancer, and they'd still say he was a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, right, exactly. You can find faults in anybody that does anything that, but I just, it's just their bias. I mean, everyone has a bias, but I don't understand why, instead of looking, which I think you should look at the bad and the good. I mean, that's what I would do with Obama. I didn't
like him, but I found a couple of good things that he did. Shit, I had healthcare till I was 26. That was great.
I mean, like, you got to look at good and bad things of everybody. And I bring this up every single time, Brianna, in the economy. The Trump economy was the greatest economy basically in how many years in the history of whatever. And it's so funny because I've seen so many of economics professors that are Republican and Democrat have the exact same education, the exact same PhD level economics professor. I'm so intelligent because I went to brainwashing camp for 15, 20 years. And it's like, it's the greatest economy. Well, this scientist says it's the worst. Well, this says it's the best. You know what I mean? It's no one, that makes no sense. And it's almost showing everyone, well, wait, if two schools are proving each other wrong, that they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their PhD level doctrines in, why would I even go to school? Because one person says it's the worst economy and some says the best. Neither of them even exists, maybe. Maybe it's all just a bunch of non-existent stuff that it doesn't even matter, and that's what politics has done. It's the new religion. It's the religion of the government, and it's the religion to just to take your energy and your mind and control your mind and to brainwash you.
Oh, 100%. It's mind baffling. And, stop. People get mad because, he brings God into it a lot. And I'm like, this country needs some more. Jesus. Like, good Lord. And they've ruined God. And like, they make you think, you believe in God. That means you hate gays or you hate trans. Yeah, I don't hate gays.
That's not what God is. That's what someone says that they think God would be.
That's old Christianity that really doesn't believe in gay marriage or doesn't believe in any of that, and that's fine. I 100% believe in gay marriage. I have no problem with trans people. I have no problem with any of it. I love everybody the same because that's what the Bible teaches me. Love everyone, no matter what.
And no one looks at, they use fallen beliefs of what they think the Bible is, and all those things were communist liberation theology things, and it's just they're using the fallen forms of Christianity, and they've ruined it just to push an agenda. And it's the same people that ruined Christianity and ruined the biblical text that are doing this now. Just like I called this, Casey, I think you knew this, and I'll wrap it up in a sec here, Brianna. Back in, when was that? So in the 1900s, 1800s, 1900s, it was like the media would write in all their magazines the N-word. Like, it's like normal to say Negro. Mm-hmm. Like, they were like the KKK. They all hated black people back then. And then what happened? Well, now who do they hate? The media and all the newspapers. They hate white people. It's like, white privilege, straight white men. Like, it's very like, they're so, aren't you so, like, it's cool to talk bad about old white men or whatever. That's the new person they hate. And I said this last year. I think they're going to hate Asians next. they're going to be like, look at all those smart Asians. They think they're so cool because they stopped COVID-19 fast. And I don't know.
Actually, it's the Iranians that came up with the vaccine first, I think.
Right. Oh, well,
So there is a vaccine?
There's a vaccine that's been developed. It just hasn't been tested yet. I think it was Iran that's doing it, or somebody in the Middle East.
Are you talking about hydroxychloroquine?
No, that's not a vaccine. That's a treatment.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's the anti-malaria drug, and then a Z-Pack.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brianna, you know, it was so wonderful having you on. I don't know why it never worked out with us, but you know.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day to do this with us.
You are welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, guys, if you want to, do you want to promote Brianna? Do you want your Twitter? You want me to tell people where they can find you and your rantings on sports? And Brianna has a ton
definitely
of
Twitter then.
Yeah. So you guys, you want to go to B period or dot or whatever that is, B period Jones on Twitter and on Instagram. I mean,
Instagram is W Jones, but my Twitter is something completely different. Twitter is the Jane Doe 21.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading your name.
Yeah, but no, I rant all day long on Twitter.
Yeah.
And say it one more time for everyone.
It's the Jane Doe 21.
And your Instagram?
The B Jones.
And to all the viewers out there that watch the show on YouTube and our other platforms, guys, you'll do yourself a favor if you follow her on Instagram. She's just a nice thing.
There's actually a great picture of you and I on there.
There is.
In that Canadian tuxedo before I killed myself that day.
I got really drunk early that day.
That was New Year's Day. We all did.
And I literally, that was hours after I woke up New Year's Day, completely hungover. And you know how you always vow yourself, I'm not drinking like that for at least 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like waking up, I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? You and Amber text me. I get this text, come to Domain. I was like, I got to.
All right. You can follow us on Twitter at On the Road with J3. On Instagram, we're at On the Road with Jim and Casey. And we just started a Patreon page. You can go to patreon.com/Jim and Casey. I'm trying to talk Jimbo into doing live videos on there once a week for anyone that signs up, like an extra show. So.
All right. Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
You are welcome.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Brianna. God bless.
God bless.